I'm Jason with Ely Outfitting Company in downtown Ely, Minnesota. As the stories by Joe M. and the Paddle and Portage team inspire you to explore the boundary waters, let our trail-savvy crew make your trip planning simple. If you haven't tried our free online trip routing service, complete with awesome interactive maps, check out elyoutfittingcompany.com. And when you're ready, find complete outfitting services, lightweight canoe rentals, and comfy bunkhouse lodging at Ely Outfitting Company.
Welcome to the Paddle and Portage Podcast.
In today's episode, it is an honor and a privilege to dive into the life of a local Grand Marais legend,
Buck Benson.
What up, Buck?
Hey, Buck. I hope you're listening to this. A lot of people on this side of the wilderness are familiar with Buck Benson. He's been around a long time.
When a lot of people listen to the podcast, maybe hear Buck or Bucks and think about Grand Marais, think about probably Buck's Hardware, right? The downtown Grand Marais store.
It's kind of the classic hardware store. You get gas there, little greenhouse.
Bait, fishing lures, minnows, LB, minnows.
Yes, it's kind of a one-stop shop. It's part of Buck's sort of business legacy here that a lot of people would be able to call to mind. But there's so much more to this man's connection with the land and place and adventure that has to get out beyond this little local community.
And the thing about why that's important is not just to say what Buck's done and what his connection to the wilderness, the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness is, as we'll be sharing, but because of the inspiration that it brings in sharing this story. And LB, I recently dropped off some lake trout for Buck to enjoy for dinner in mid-January here. Oregon Bill was out for a winter camping trip, and the great Josh Dix came along on that first big winter adventure that we did in the earlier part of January. Caught some nice trout, came back and bumped into Buck a bit before then and mentioned we were going to try to get some trout. Well, hey, I'll drop off a fillet, or however maybe he asked, or however that came to be. So when we got back, I did bring a fillet to Buck, and in that exchange of fish to hand, it was, Joe, I'd like to get out with you on one of these fishing trips. Yeah, cool, Buck, no problem, man, that sounds good. How many times have we heard that, LB, over the years from friends, colleagues, people we first meet? I'd like to get out there with you sometime. Well, the next day, there's a text message from Buck that comes in that says, how about Monday? It's like, yeah, cool, Buck. This is like Saturday. Sure, why not? Let's do it.
And if you know Buck, that's actually not surprising because he always wants to get out. And not alone. He's not that kind of a spirited traveler. It's with friends and with people. And this is one of the things that makes Buck special, is that he's always got ideas, always wants to get out, and always wants to do it with pals.
And so let's head out to part of the adventure we shared that day when we went fishing in the Boundary Waters, and Buck and I had caught some nice lake trout, and we're just coming up off a steep portage and stop at an intersection of the portage and the border route trail, which of course runs from sort of that east-west, north-south, however you want to think of that, across the border lakes here, starting near the Arrowhead Trail and coming to about the midpoint where we were at this intersection, this confluence with the portage, and hear how our adventure was going. I think just right back there behind us, Buck, is the border route trail.
Yes, it is.
You ever been on that thing?
Oh, I've been on that thing. Yeah, I love that border route trail, and I want to do a long trip on it someday. I have never done the whole thing.
Yeah. You've done
Just
sections.
Yeah, just sections. And I'm enthused to do that sometime.
Do you recall when that was put into place or built, for lack of a better way to put it?
It's been there a long time, but it hasn't been maintained. So for years, people weren't enthused to even try it because it was hard to follow and hard to backpack. Sort of hooked up to the hiking trail on the eastern end.
Uh-huh.
So then a lot of people combine both.
Take the Superior hiking trail and hop on the border route.
And hop on the border out there. And I think some of the lodges, too, are getting involved where they realize a part of their business can be that trail.
Yeah.
So it's relatively close to Grand
Buck says he wants to complete the border route trail
A noble quest.
for anyone. What Buck hasn't said yet is that this year he's turning 75. And just a few days before this, he was out skiing the frozen Cascade River. And a few days after, he was out skiing the frozen Devil Track River.
And that's where at least part of the inspiration that we talk to really comes in for me personally, because I sure hope when I'm turning 75 years old that I'm able to climb up out of South Lake, cross the intersection of the border route trail, and say, hey, let's fish topper for a while. That's inspiring to me.
We talk about the mental game of being in the wilderness, especially in the wintertime, that sometimes getting through a really hard day, whether it's a portage or just a long slog across multiple lakes with deep snow, the way you choose to think about the experience you're having is what gets you through it. And Buck sort of takes that approach to all of life, and especially to the point he's at, getting older. It's still a mental game for him, and he'll tell you he will still do everything he's always been able to do. He may not do it as quickly, but he's still in.
Hello, podcast listeners. Claire from Sawbill Canoe Outfitters here. As some of you may know, I am the third generation owner of Sawbill, and joining me today is Sawbill's fourth generation, my 9-year-old daughter, Kit.
Hi everyone, I'm Kit, and I've been going on overnight Boundary Waters trips since I was 4 months old.
So Kit, why is Sawbill a great place for kids to experience the Boundary Waters?
Well, it's a great place for day trips if you're just getting started with wilderness camping. I really like to swim in Sawbill and the other lakes when I'm on a canoe trip. And our store has ice cream treats for when you get back.
Those are great reasons. With 70 years of outfitting experience here, Sawbill is well equipped to help new paddlers and seasoned canoers alike. We are also hiring for our 2026 seasonal crew. If you've ever dreamed of spending the summer on the edge of the wilderness, or if you know a college student with a free summer, you can apply now on our website, sawbill.com. That's it from us, podcast listeners. We hope you enjoy this episode about our friend and neighbor, Buck. Bye!
So you're 74 now,
Yeah.
and you're still getting out there. You were just skiing on the Cascade River a few days back, and now we're out here and doing not the hardest portage, but it's no stroll in the park either, and caught some lake trout. And
Yeah.
how's this day going for you?
Oh, it's going great, and you take such good care of me. Setting up all the lines and pulling the sled, and I'm not used to that. I do things for myself most of the time, so I appreciate you getting me out here, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
This is fun.
Yeah, absolutely, Buck. And
Yeah.
do you think of it in the sense of I'm 74 and this is good that I'm out here, or is this just the way you roll? Because there's not a lot of 74-year-olds up schlepping these portages,
I don't feel any different. I still do the same things I've always done. Maybe not as fast, but I still can do everything. And that's my lifestyle, is to to do things, to get out in the woods and explore and stay active. And I think in Cook County there's a lot of people who have a athletic or an outdoor lifestyle. So there's a good community that you feed off of, whether it's at the YMCA or on Strava or at the coffee shop. You meet these people and you talk about the things you're doing, and they're outdoors. So being in this community helps a lot.
How much of this is the mental side of when people sort of volunteer themselves as being too old to do certain activities?
Well, attitude is everything. So if you think that you can't do it, for sure you can't do it. So if you have a positive outlook, it comes easy.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about it.
Yeah. And then the physical side of is sort of the consequence or the result is because you've mentally opted in on, I can do this or at least give it a shot. Mm-hmm. You're sort of physically adapting and getting stronger or staying stronger rather than having to sort of build back up to it.
If it's your lifestyle, which for me it is, you don't even have to think about whether you can or can't. You know you can do it. Mm-hmm. And you do what you need to keep strong. And you don't mind doing it because it's things you enjoy.
And with Buck's story of inspiration and the mental game of both getting out in the winter months and while aging is inspiring. And there's a lot of people that retire to the North Shore of Lake Superior and do get out there into the wilderness in the wintertime. And that's awesome. It's really great to see people of all ages out there celebrating the beautiful wintertime in the Boundary Waters. But for Buck, this wasn't just about retiring up to Grand Marais and getting out into the woods. He's been doing this up here his whole life. In fact, Buck was around when the Wilderness Act passed in 1964 and was out there just a few years later building some of these campsites in the BWCA wilderness that we're still even using today, LB. We've probably stayed at a campsite that Buck helped make in the late 60s. And that's a next level inspiration to be out there with Buck doing these things with that knowledge. What do you recall about those years when you were building trail and portages and campsites and doing the early Boundary Water stuff, Buck?
Yeah, that was back, I think, starting 67, and I hung on to that summer job till after my first year of college. And at that time, the Boundary Waters, in the sense it is now, was brand new because it started in 64 officially.
Yep.
So a lot of the areas needed work. They didn't have enough campsites by any means. So that was a lot of what I did, is to improve portages, put up. We used portage rests, canoe rests then, and also to establish campsites. And it was a great job because I got to be outdoors all summer, 10 days out, 4 days in. I worked for my dad on the 4 days I was off, and so I worked every day, all summer. But it didn't feel like work, even though we worked really hard. It didn't feel like work because we're outside. We're doing something we do for play anyway. So yeah, I loved it and got to know the Boundary Waters in that way because my dad didn't camp. After World War II, he had enough of being in a tent. So that was how I really learned how to camp on my own with one partner.
And are some of those campsites that you built still in use today?
Oh, I'm sure of it, yeah. Yeah. Some they have to replace because of overuse. But a lot of those, it's harder to overuse them. They're mainly all rock.
Yeah.
And you can't put too hard a footprint in.
Buck also has incredible early life memories of building portage trails, cutting them through the woods, establishing them, maintenance on them in those early days. I think what most notably the Eagle Mountain Trail, which takes you into the Boundary Waters on foot into the highest point in Minnesota. It's a popular destination for a lot of people. And he was out there routing that trail, staying in canvas wall tent, and seeing wildlife like moose and bobcat. He has so many stories.
And we put some portages in different places where they were just a little trail. And there was a route up to Eagle Mountain, but we built it as a trail and put in boardwalks and established two campsites on Whale Lake, which at that time was a big meadow, a huge meadow. You'd never know it now.
And why? How come it's been dammed up or something, or what made it change?
Well, it was logging that created the meadow, and now the trees could grow after that. There was in between there and Brule Lake, there was a big camp in those early days, and so that meadow, I remember camping there with my partner Steve Anderson, and in the morning of the first morning that I woke up, I looked out the tent, and all I could see was legs. We were surrounded by moose.
No way.
Yeah, that were in the meadow. I mean, they're not used to any people being there that weren't bothered by it.
Yeah.
And so, and we didn't really photograph anything then. You didn't carry cameras or do anything, so I couldn't show you a photo, but it was a really amazing way to wake up.
Wow.
And
I guess so.
Also at that same campsite, the next night, bobcats started to harass us. And I think it was because we were near their den. So after all night, putting up with them screaming at us, we moved our camp.
What type of tent were you using when you were making these, in these early days of the Boundary Waters?
They were surplus tents from World War II.
Like a canvas style?
A canvas tent, sometimes old and moldy, and you draped it up, you cut a pole to put it up. You cut several poles, really. So that was what we would have to do at every camp that we stayed at. Mm-hmm. And we actually carried a lot of equipment, grub axes and even chainsaws in the early days. Because there was a lot of manual work taking out old bridges, because there's roads right down through the Boundary Waters in that time, and they were roads as wide as the grade, perfectly graveled.
Wow.
And bridges by Pillsbury and Allen, there was a bridge there that we worked at by hand to try to take a wooden bridge.
Huh. South of Poplar there?
Yeah.
Huh.
So it was interesting. It was, for me, I couldn't have picked a better job as a young man than that.
And a lot of these stories and Buck's tales that he shares with us are about the Boundary Waters and his experiences here, both present time and when he was growing up. But he left town for a bit and got an education, saw the world, traveled around for a time. But then he got the call. He got the call from home to come back and help out with the family business. And Buck answered that call.
And I planned on buying a business out in Colorado, but it was a phone call from my mother that got me back here. And once I came back, I never left.
Mm-hmm. What was that phone call about? What?
At the time, I thought she was serious, that my dad wasn't feeling well, would I come back and help out for a year? But now, looking back, I realized she just wanted me to come back. I don't think there was anything wrong with my dad.
Yeah, maybe he missed his son, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. But I got back here, and I don't know if any other place I want to live all the time is right here. This is home.
It's fair to say that the everyday adventurer is the one that hikes the trails that everybody else is hiking and travels to the lakes that everybody else travels to. One of the most admirable things for me about Buck Benson is that his orientation to getting out is to pull out a map and look to find a place that has no trail, to a lake that few people, if any, have been to, maybe in the last 20 years. And it was that attitude in his living room one day, pulling out a map and saying, I want to go here, that really illustrates what Buck is capable of in his 70s. Just a few years ago, on an early Paddle and Portage episode, was Buck's vision that took us bushwhacking into a lake with no portage in the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness.
Bushwhacking is a funny term, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You know, there's no trail, basically, is what you're saying. And you make your own trail, and you figure out what direction you have to go, how far you have to go, what kind of terrain you'll be passing through, or maybe you don't even know that. You know you only want to go to this place, and you're at your current place, so you just take the compass and head that direction. But I learned to enjoy bushwhacking without even thinking about what it was when I was spending my time all over Cook County fishing brook trout as a kid. And the only way you're going to get to most brook trout places is just that. You know what direction you're going to go, and you might have an idea how far it is. The beaver dam you're looking for, or the spring hole, or the secret lake, whatever it is. So it wasn't necessarily overnights. It was really just take off and go. Not everybody should decide that this is going to be their first adventure. No. Because, there's a lot of things you learn along the way that pave the way for this to be something you can do. You just can't say, okay, I heard these guys do it, I'm going to go and do the same thing. You put your time and in your life doing things that I guess I call them hard all the time. And those are the things that you really cherish. Everything is just heightened when you really do the work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that doesn't always happen. People don't push themselves, and they just don't get these feelings. Then you can't explain it to people totally. So
You have to experience it.
you have to experience it.
The word that most defines my feelings and thoughts about Buck is inspiration. His inspiration derived from the woods, the waters, and the lakes of this place, which he spent nearly the entirety of his life. And the inspiration I draw from him to keep going and to keep going to new places in new ways. And I hope that inspires everybody else.
I mean, you've done some pretty epic trips, as we heard with the bushwhacking stories and that audio from that experience, but that's just one of the trips that you've made. I mean, this was my first kind of real outing and an adventure with Buck was the day we went ice fishing that we've heard throughout the episode. Caught some really nice trout, by the way, that day. But you've had a lot. What are some other ones that stand out for you, LB, that you've had with Buck over the years, from winter to all the seasons, I think?
Well, yes, definitely. But what's really incredible about Buck is that he's done just about all of it. He's trail run, ultra marathons. He's skied all the loppets and burbiners and things out there that people do, and still invites me on trail runs, and still getting out in the water. I think some of my favorite things are wild ice skating with Buck. One of the things that I love about Buck is that he truly, now that he is released from the family business, is that he has the time to go and to scheme. And so that's wild ice skating. When I was learning to ski, he took me out for hours and just skied with me and gave me pointers, which I love and appreciate. And backcountry skiing in the wild places and the river canyons. If there's a group of people getting out in the middle of a weekday in this place, Buck's probably at the center of it. And it doesn't matter what time of year. All that matters is that you're down to say yes. And I think the other thing that matters is that as eager as Buck has been to invite you or I into an adventure, it's the equal openness to invite you or I down for dinner, to show up and eat a feast, usually involving some sort of fish and some sort of amazing recipe that he took the day to think through and cook up. Hospitality and adventure. In Buck we trust.
In Buck we trust.
In Buck we trust. You are the best of us. When we look out on the horizon, we see Buck.
Like to sing when I paddle canoe, feeling, not thinking if the strokes are true. We're gonna get through to the other side. Out in the night, the waves beat the shore. You can hear them pounding, you can hear them roar. Oh, roll me, rock me in my dreams. You can roll me, rock me in my dreams. So I like to sing, I love to dance. I play the fool if I got the chance. All around the campfire light. All around the campfire light. All round, all round, all round the campfire light.